Parts for this truck are easy to get, but they know that it's mostly a bunch of old retired men buying this stuff, and so it's not cheap. Found our first dead mouse. Oh my God. If you can't sing along, tear in my beer, then don't forget your coat and get the fuck out of here. For the last 6 months, I've owned this 1977 Chevy truck that was on my parents' farm for about 30 years, and it's a pretty fun vehicle to own. It's big, it's rugged, I can throw stuff in the back, and I love the patina look on the outside, but the interior is a little bit nasty. It's old, it's faded, and worst of all, when this truck was in storage, it got a lot of mice peeing inside of it. So this week, I want to tear all that nasty stuff out, give it a little refresh, and see if we can make it a lot more comfortable. First thing I gotta get out is this nasty seat. This is definitely the worst of it. I don't really own a whole lot of standard size tools, so we're gonna mostly use metric for this. Jesus, these bolts are on here good. The smell of mouse pee is very strong back here. I think they were living inside this. Oh, got a bunch of trash. Absolutely not surprised about all the crap that is under here. This is exactly what I was expecting. The good news is this is pretty easy to clean out. It's just some dirt and some trash. Get that all swept up. I'll start pulling off this rubber mat stuff that's all gross. Get it ready for the carpet. But we did even find the original license plate, which is really cool. It has the tags that expired in 1979, so that's pretty awesome. I'll have to keep that around. Found our first dead mouse. Thing's tiny. I started reading a lot about mouse poop and how sick it can make you, and realized that I was doing everything wrong. You do not want to vacuum it or try to blow it out. Anything that gets it in the air is going to be really bad. So from here on out, I'm going to make sure I'm always wearing that respirator when we're working on the truck until we get it all completely cleaned out. You want to get that stuff wet so that it stays down. I can blow it out with the hose. So from now on, we're going to try that. And once we get the seat cover off and all that nasty stuff, then we won't have to worry about it anymore. But for now, I just want to try to be as safe as possible because I don't want to get sick or maybe worse. I keep thinking I'm gonna find an end to all this dirt, but there just seems like there's more and more every time I take something off, of course. And I didn't expect this truck to have much rust because it lived its entire life in Montana in a very dry area where it didn't really rain even in the winter. But there is a little bit down here on the side of the doorstep here, and probably a little bit underneath where this footwell area is. It's not too crazy. I think I can probably just hit it with the wire wheel and throw a little coat of paint on there and just be fine with that. We don't need to do any rust repair. So I've pretty much just been cleaning everything from the top of the ceiling all the way downwards, and I think I'm even just gonna spray the dash with a hose because there's literally not even a millimeter of anything on this truck that's not dirty. It is insane how much dirt I was able to wash out of this truck, and I'm sure I washed out a lot of the smells too. I didn't have any bleach, but I was spraying this chemical called purple stuff, or maybe it's purple power, and that stuff is pretty crazy. Just inhaling it will choke you out. I'm sure that probably killed a lot of things. Feeling really good in there. I gotta figure out how to move this truck around because I don't want it in my driveway all the time. I'm not working on it 24/7, so I'm probably gonna sit on like a bucket, something like that, so I can get it out into the street. But for now, I think we need to order some parts. I'll probably start tearing this seat apart tomorrow while we're waiting. It's gonna take a little while to get the carpet and the foam and everything for this, so probably should have thought about that. I just got excited all of a sudden to do this project, so we're just gonna send it. Haven't exactly been the pinnacle of safety so far on this video here. What color do you think we should make the farm truck?
That one.
Dark Saddle Madrid. This stuff's not cheap. It's gonna cost $1,000 just to do the seat and the carpet. You have to order all this stuff from different websites, and I'm not really sure if it's all gonna match. There's like 15 different names for things. There's saddle and buckskin and just like all these, you know, semi-descriptive things. So we're trying to look at these crummy pictures of all the different options, and I would prefer that the farm truck is like velour. I think we should go with a nice, soft velour seat. What do you think? Instead of leather, instead of vinyl? I think that'd be cool. You would think they could have like vacuum sealed this into a smaller box or something, but I guess not. Ew, there's like dirty handprints on it already. What the heck? Some new parts already showed up in the mail. We've got the foam for our bench seat, so this thing will be really exciting to tear into and see how nasty it is inside. Also, I got these new trim pieces for the interior. I was thinking about restoring these and seeing if I could make them nice and shiny again, but I thought the $100 for the whole kit was worth it. You know, these will be brand new and make the truck feel really nice in there. Also got some boots for the shifter and for the transfer case. I think that's what you call it, the little four-wheel drive knob thing, and a new lock for the glove box. Unfortunately, the carpet is gonna take a while longer, probably another week and a half or so to get that. It's made to order. And you kind of something that you want to start with first, but we're just gonna crack into this seat for now and we'll see how it goes. I almost feel a little bit bad, like I'm killing off some of the FarmTruck's personality, but this thing is just gross. Oh, just gotta remove about 50 of these hog rings. Oh my God, that is nasty. The smell is about as bad as you can imagine. I was a little afraid to take my respirator off, but I can't talk when it's on. It is really gross. I don't even know what all that is. It's definitely poop and things the mice were hoarding. Oh. I almost cheaped out on this seat project and thought about only buying the bottom foam because clearly it's pretty worn out, but the back of the seat is probably even worse. So I'm glad that I didn't do that and that I got both sections of it. I thought I might be able to reuse that, but now after seeing how much they had been digging around in there, it is nasty and I'm glad we're throwing all of this away. I took some of the old hardware off the truck and cleaned it up. A lot of it was kind of rusty and obviously missing its original coating. I think it was probably zinc coated. And I'm doing what's called bluing, where you put this oxide chemical or something on here and it pretty much just turns everything black and helps protect it against rust. So won't have to buy new hardware or find it. Probably a good idea to blast off a bunch of this rust. I'm gonna paint the frame of this seat so that it doesn't rust anymore. It's in really good condition actually. It seems like it's pretty strong. Everything's just surface rust. I'm trying to go quickly because it's kind of loud in the neighborhood. I don't think my neighbors think this farm truck project is as cute as they originally anticipated. I was waiting for the paint to dry. I got a little bit curious about the floorboards in here on the truck, and I feel like the passenger side looks worse, but the driver's side definitely has a pretty big hole in it. So maybe I can weld something over it real quick. I'm gonna look online and see what the options are. I know people sell like entire floor pans for these things because this is really common, but this hole is just a little bit too big.
I have a slide ledge, but there's a little bracket, a ledge.
I'm like really on the fence about the floor pans. I decided to just go ahead and buy some anyways. They're only 45 bucks a side. And I watched a YouTube video that made me feel a little bit better. A guy just kind of dropped them in there, but he cut out the bottoms and I don't really want to do that. We'll see if I can drop them in on top of the stock floor pan and just weld them in. I'll be happy with that. I don't want to spend an insane amount of time to cut them out. The upholstery for the farm truck came. It seems very era appropriate. Like I would probably never choose this for anything else because this is like that old school like couch feel, but shoot, I can put this thing together tomorrow. I didn't quite finish the seat the other day, but now that I've got all the parts, it's good motivation to get that finished up. The weather isn't looking very good, so I'm gonna try to get the rest of this done in the garage. I did notice there's some cracks in the seat back, so we'll fire up the welder and fix that. Since it's been a couple days since I've worked on the truck, that's allowed some things to start to show up. The floor pans are here, so we can take a look at that. Not exactly excited to do that part of it, but the carpet is supposed to be here either today or tomorrow. And I mean, that's just about everything. So hopefully we'll get this truck wrapped up here in the next few days and I can enjoy it with the new interior. Oops. Try not to catch the carpet on fire. No surprise here, but the driver's side is worse. There's a bit of a gap. Hold this thing together and just give it a good tack. The welds are so nice for how little effort it takes to do this. I already blasted most of the rust off this thing so we can paint it real quick, and I'll get the brackets all painted up too. I'll leave the welder out so we can do the floor pans next. It's trying to get nice outside. It's getting there. I see a little blue sky. That foam's obviously pretty easy to get on there. There was already some little cutaways for the springs to just pop right into perfectly. I was thinking about buying a big chunk of foam for maybe a little bit cheaper than I paid for this and cutting it myself, but that would have just been too time consuming and it would have never, been as good as these guys that have the molds and everything already figured out. So I'm gonna throw the upholstery over that, hog ring it in the back. I did the upholstery in my Quattro and it came out pretty good, and that was way more complicated. So I doubt this will take much more than an hour to get that bottom piece on there while the back is still kind of curing from the spray paint. And then we'll do that side. I can bolt it all back together with the seat rails and that thing will be done. I got the seat covers on and they're looking pretty good. I tore the base a tiny bit, but luckily it's not a spot that you're gonna see too much. You just gotta be really careful when you're pulling these things on, not to pull on the seams and things like that. You wanna just take it slow, and it would have helped a lot to use a heat gun or something to warm this vinyl up that's on the side here to make it stretch a little more. No big deal, it looks nice still, and we'll get it put together once it's in the truck. I wanna just put the base in there first and then bolt the top on so that it's not so difficult and heavy to get in there. I'm gonna bring the truck up in the driveway. Unfortunately, it started raining again, which is kind of a bummer, but start looking at that floor pan and seeing if those drop-ins are gonna fit and how to put those in basically. Start grinding away that rust and figuring out how much of that I wanna cut off. So the question I keep asking here is if I can just drop this pan on top, kind of just tuck it in. So I think the plan for this is just gonna be grind off as much of that rust as I possibly can from the original floor pan, and then I'm gonna drop that new drop-in pan over the top of it, weld that thing in, and just call it a day. We'll put the carpet on it. We can start getting the seat back in. I just want this to be done. Going a little bit extra than I wanted to, but probably good not to have holes in the floor, especially where I live, where it rains a lot. So the rust inhibitor is basically just gonna trap the rust. It's got some kind of chemical that stops it from growing, but also just keeping oxygen away from it will keep the rust from forming. So we'll spray that on there, and I've got 3 cans of sound deadening spray. I'm not exactly sure how that works. It's just like rubberized coating, I think. We'll spray that on here too. It'll probably be enough to clog up these holes, and then I'll grind some of this paint off and we'll weld those floors in. I sprayed everything on the passenger side, and while I'm waiting for that to dry, I started getting the driver's side ready and spraying that. And you can see this giant hole here, and this is basically why I decided to do these drop-in floor plates. You really got to ask yourself, how big of a hole is too big? And this is definitely missing enough material that it just felt wrong to throw a piece of carpet over this. If it had just been some pinholes like the passenger side, I probably would have just sent it, but I think I got to draw the line there. So definitely glad I'm going to do that. It's going to be dark here in about an hour, so I think I'm just going to spray the last coat of that rubberized sound deadener, and then I'm just gonna let it sit overnight. Tomorrow morning we'll revisit this and we'll finally weld in these plates and put the carpet in. I'm getting an early start on the truck today, so that'll be really nice. Hopefully get a lot done on it. I got this panel placed in here and I cut a couple of little recesses in it for the parts that were kind of bumping into things. I'm gonna do a decent job welding this in, maybe not make it a full-blown like seam all the way around, just some like inch-long welds here every so often. One day this truck might get a full-blown restoration in the future. My daughter's probably gonna inherit this thing and drive it around when she's older. And at that point, maybe we'll do something crazy where we gut this thing and, replace even the stitch welds along the door and go all the way up into here and do that stuff. So who knows what the future looks like for this thing. For now, I'll get these panels placed in here because I'm so excited to get this carpet in. I cannot wait to see what it looks like and how cozy it is. That passenger side went in there pretty easily. I love how good of a job the laser welder does, and it's really fast. So I'll move on to the driver's side now. I haven't even test fit that one, so hopefully this drop-in plate is actually able to cover where that rust hole is. It's pretty far off to the side, so as long as that's the case, I think we'll be good to go. Sun's starting to come out, that's nice. The driver's side was a little bit more difficult with the pedals and everything in the way, and The drop-in pan didn't quite go far enough, so I made a small little piece of metal to weld in there that I used from a scrap from something else, and it seems like it's all covered up now. The welder is pretty cool. It has this pulse mode that kind of spits out the rod and just goes, so that way you don't burn holes through things. You can easily fill gaps and stuff like that, so that was really helpful. Now we can put this transmission cover back on, and I'll seam seal every single little crevice here so that no water gets in, and we can put the carpet on finally. Really looking forward to that. Hopefully I can get all the screws in the hole, just blast them through with the impact. That'll make sure everything's nice and tight. Yeah, that was my only worry with this, was that these screws weren't gonna line up very well if it was getting pushed up by the floor pans, but I think looks like we're gonna be okay. Kind of love how this shifter's got a bunch of rust and stuff all over. It just really shows how old this truck is and how much it's been used, but this is one of those things that you touch a lot that I feel like should try to get it as clean and nice looking as possible, especially since it's exposed in here. It'll look nice once it's all repainted black back to its original. I've been trying to figure out a few things to do for the last hour or so while that seam sealer dries. It's just taking forever, and I don't want it to be too sticky when I put the carpet in. The only last thing that there is more of that sound deadening, but this time it's in the form of this dry, kind of rolled up material. I bought that as well because it was pretty cheap. It was like 55 bucks, so I figured why not just add another level of sound deadening to try to make this truck as comfortable as possible, and that will go underneath the carpet. I don't really think it sticks to anything, so I'm just gonna slide it in there and see how it looks. The instructions didn't really say anything about gluing or sticking this thing down, so I guess you kind of just plop it underneath the carpet. Other than that, I think the only thing left to do is take a look at that carpet. The instructions pretty much just say to fold this thing in half exactly how it came in the box, slide it in the truck, and slowly unroll it towards the front. Since my truck's a four-wheel drive manual, it's got the two shifters sticking up, and I'll have to cut holes for those, but no big deal. We'll just kind of take it slow and make sure we take our time doing this nice. I probably won't finish it today, so we'll let it sit in the truck overnight, and that'll also help some of the wrinkles kind of ease up a little bit. Maybe some of the humidity and stuff outside. Unfortunately, it's not really hot, because I think that would help a lot, but yeah, I think this is gonna look really cool. I like the color. All right, I'm gonna cut this thing. I'm pretty confident that I've got the correct spot for the transfer case. Luckily, I just need a hole big enough for something that's about 1 inch around to go through, but the actual boot is like 4 inches. So if you're not dead on, you know, move it around a bit. That's looking good. I think that was probably a good idea to let that carpet rest overnight. A lot of the wrinkles have smoothed out a bit. Now I'm gonna start drilling a few more holes in it. I'm gonna start by drilling the holes for the seat belts, even though those haven't shown up a bit. I'll put the bolts through it, and that will help keep the carpet from moving around. Then we'll put that seat in, and I mean, we're almost there. The thing's gonna be ready for the big reveal for Celia to come home from school today, and I'm excited to show it to her. I was trying to use my hot knife to cut holes in the carpet. It usually works really well for foam and things like that, but wasn't great on this, so I just ended up using the X-Acto knife. The seat went in there pretty easily. It's always kind of funny how heavy this thing gets once it's got the brackets and everything attached to it, but it lined up really easily, and I got those 4 bolts through no problem. So now I'm gonna start to look at the carpet here along the edges where the trim is gonna be. I'm gonna take those trim pieces and kind of remind myself where those all go, and then we'll start cutting this down. They let the carpet out a little bit long so you can trim it yourself, and then once those chrome pieces are in, it's going to be looking really nice. Those trim pieces went on there pretty good. It's a little bit thicker in there now with the sound deadening and this carpet than it was before, so it was kind of hard getting them to fit, and they're still not quite right. Also, since there's no pinch weld here, they're supposed to go along the pinch weld, so they're kind of leaning a little bit. I mean, it looks pretty good for now. I was really excited to find this like door trim stuff that I had laying around. I had bought this for my 240 previously, and it came in like a huge 100-foot roll. So I had a bunch left over, and it fits perfectly. Really glad I saved myself the $100 by not buying the pre-cut one. Probably the hardest thing about the install was getting the holes for the shift boots cut out. It's got this extra thick carpet right there where there's some sound deadening insulation stuff where the transmission is, and that just makes it more complicated. You don't want to cut it too big and then have it showing, because that's going to be a huge eyesore right where everyone's going to see it. My daughter gets home in about 20 minutes, so I'm going to do the final vacuum, get it all cleaned up, put that seat back on, and then we can see what she thinks of the whole thing. I mean, she picked out most of this stuff, so she better like it, but either way, I'm pretty pumped on it. Yep.
I love it.
She clearly likes it, and my first impression is this thing is way nicer. The one takeaway I will say is it kind of makes the rest of everything seem really crappy now. I know exactly what the next video is going to be about. We're going to be doing the dash, we're going to be doing the steering wheel, probably the gauges, some stuff like that. All in all, it was a lot of fun. This seat is a lot more upright. Definitely, I feel like my posture's better. I need to get seat belts for this thing. The seat belts are still about a week out, so we're not gonna really be driving this thing at all. I ordered some new pads for the door panels and those never showed up. I think they're back ordered, but I'm just gonna check the mail real quick, you know, take the thing for a short drive through the neighborhood, see how it is. Yeah, it feels way better. It definitely smells a lot better. So yeah, I think next video we'll do some more interior stuff, spend some more money, that's for sure. But until then, check your polarizer.